Meantime, the president and China's President Xi Jinping holding a much-anticipated phone call this morning. Let's get to Eamon Javers and see what we know. Hey, Eamon.
Good morning, Carl. What we know is not much. What we know is that the call began, according to White House official, at 8 a.m. this morning Eastern time. It is apparently still ongoing as we're just across the 10 a.m. mark. So that is a 2-hour call and counting so far. We're expecting that the president will post something on Truth Social when it is all said and done. Not exactly clear when we'll see that or what we will ultimately see in terms of an agreement. The president said on the agenda here is TikTok first and foremost, but also the entire agenda of the economic relationship between these two countries also on the line. So will we get an announcement of a TikTok deal? That's possible. Here's what we know so far, guys. This is largely from David's reporting as well as some other media reports. The plan is to have a consortium that would include Oracle, Silver Lake, and Andreessen Horowitz own the U.S. version of TikTok. It'd be an 80% stake from the U.S. side. The Chinese would retain a 20% stake or just under 20% stake in the revised TikTok. It would be an American-dominated board, and some reports indicate that the U.S. government would get one board seat on the revised American TikTok. The president yesterday ducked a question about the algorithm and whether or not this American version of TikTok would continue to use the Chinese algorithm. Of course, that is the central national security concern around this, so we'll wait for some clarity on that. Also, potential clarity here, guys, on whether or not Trump and Xi will meet in person at any point this fall. A lot of speculation that the two men will have a handshake and a personal meeting at some point in Asia this fall. We might get some readout on that. We'll wait and bring you anything as soon as we have it from here, guys. Back over to you.
What I can add, Eamon, is I think every expectation is it will be a licensing deal, certainly for some period of time, under which it will be that Chinese algorithm, if you will, that will be paid. And I think it's, 20% or so of the revenues as well will go back to ByteDance, the parent, which owns that algorithm and will be licensing it. And then you'll have ByteDance shareholders who are U.S.-based. So General Atlantic, for example, large shareholder in ByteDance, expected to join as well with new money in terms of at least in TikTok, and a few others, representing as much as 30% and then 50% new money, which gets the 80% you were discussing. But, one of the questions has been, well, does that arrangement where you're licensing the existing algorithm, which has billions of lines of code, does that violate the law that was passed by Congress and signed by the president and upheld by the Supreme Court?
Right. I mean, one of the questions I have from a national security perspective, David, is, if they do just cut and paste the existing algorithm and put it into a U.S. server, to what extent does the U.S. side get to look under the hood of that algorithm and be sure, to assuage concerns that the Chinese government could manipulate TikTok in some way and push U.S. public opinion because of the millions of Americans who are using that on a daily basis, or hourly basis even. That's the big concern here. And to what extent does the U.S. side get to look under the hood of that algorithm and see whether Beijing has any influence over it, whether there are any backdoors, traps, propaganda pushes, or anything that are possible with that technology? I think that's going to be the one thing that national security folks are going to want to really look at hard here to make sure that this does solve the ultimate concern, which is that a potentially hostile foreign government controls a major media operation inside the United States with huge public influence over Americans.
Would it require, David, users to switch to a new app as part of this?
I don't know the answer to that, Carl. I'm not certain that would be the case, no.
Okay.
That I think, it would be the existing U.S. business. So if you are a U.S. user at this point, my understanding is you would continue uninterrupted in that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huge questions. Eamon, we'll come back to you for more on the readout of this call later this morning. Eamon Javers at the White House.